when I was young, as a photographer starting out, I met a young piano player who used to be in a bigger band, and then he played in some sort of Elvis Presley cover band. He played piano. And I took a few pictures, and then I met him again and took a few more pictures, and we started this work relationship. And then we traveled together in a train. Neither of us had a driving license. We would go to gigs, and I would take pictures, and he would go back again. And in the end, he became the biggest rock star Holland ever had. So my pictures became more well known, but also he skyrocketed. And I thought that maybe it's not totally dissimilar to Dennis Stock's relation to James Dean, where you think you help each other out a bit, but one of you will skyrocket. And it's a weird position to be, in a way, feel slightly left behind, because that's what when I was quite young. That's how I experienced it to a degree. I'd never done a film in America, which was also interesting for me to try that once. And it's with young people, which is quite interesting again, because my first film, Control, although it's also a biopic, by lack of a better description, also had these young people, and it's an interesting energy. So I really enjoyed it on this film, the energy that Dane and Rob had. They're very different kind of actors, and that's such a great thing for the roles they play. Yeah, you can imagine they could be friends, because they're very different, and that's interesting in friendships, and because you really offer the other person something that they don't have. James Dean, there were a lot of people wanting to meet on that, and I had to take a few meetings for that, but the one meeting I really wanted to have was with Dane, who didn't want to meet me, because I think that James Dean was his favorite actor, and I don't think he liked the idea of stepping into his shoes very much. Unfortunately, we have a friend in common who then, I think, persuaded him to at least meet me. It's quite a physical change. He's quite slender, a bit like myself, and so you had to get this kind of body from the 50s, so, which is different than all the abs that all the actors have these days. More like a farmer's boy. And it was amazing, he managed to get that together. For James Dean, it was quite interesting to have a guy with his own opinion as a friend. In that position, you probably get a lot of people who are yes men, and I don't think he was that kind of guy. But it is really the story of Dennis Stock. So we see it mostly through his eyes, but they're quite even in the film, I think. Dennis lived probably partly of the reputation of being James Dean's photographer to a degree, but he did great pictures of jazz musicians, and he did, he traveled, he did photographs at film sets. If you look at the pictures, it really tells you that certain era. It tells a lot about that, and I think he had a very good eye. And I think you don't become a photographer at Magnum for no reason. They're very selective. It feels lighter. I think also in the way I photograph or visualize things is darker than this film, and Charlotte's is lighter, the DOP. So it's interesting to let that come into my life a bit. But like all my other films, it is still about loners, but now it's 2 instead of 1. I'm doubling up.